First, we discussed Meta Knight, the mysterious swordsman who's always aiming to improve his strength. Then, we discussed King Dedede, the goofy king of Dreamland who abandoned his goals of villainy and revenge. After that, we discussed Bandana Waddle Dee, the endearing blank slate that captured the hearts of every Kirby fan. And finally, we discussed Kirby, the ultimate friend. The Kirby character analysis series was completed. That is, until today. For you see, the fires of creative passion have been reignited in me, and I can no longer fight the urge to discuss the elusive, the mysterious, the unmistakable, the one, the only, Chef Kawasaki. If you think this video is some kind of joke, I assure you that this is 100% legitimate content. Oh, but don't pay attention to the date the video was uploaded. Oh, that's a coincidence. So, who is Chef Kawasaki? Before we talk about Chef Kawasaki's role in any of the Kirby games, let's talk about his design. Like Kirby, Waddle Dee, and a lot of other major and minor Kirby characters, Chef Kawasaki's species is completely indeterminate, and his main design trait is looking like he'd be really nice to hug. However, the name Kawasaki seems too specific to just be made up, right? Kawasaki is a city located in the Kanagawa prefecture of Japan. Kawasaki must have some big connection with food since they chose to name the chef after it. Except, Kawasaki isn't a standout food capital for Japan, at least according to my research. In fact, Chef Kawasaki isn't even named after the city. His name actually comes from the Kawasaki brand of motorcycles. According to a tweet from Masahiro Sakurai himself, one of the character designers was really into motorcycles, and that's how Chef Kawasaki got his name. I mean, makes perfect sense to me. Chef Kawasaki's first appearance was in Kirby Superstar, where he appears as a mid-boss throughout several of the game's sub-games. This includes Dynablade, Revenge of Meta Knight, and Milky Way Wishes. When defeated and inhaled, he grants Kirby the Cook copy ability. From this first appearance alone, we know that Chef Kawasaki is a mid-boss, he gives Kirby the Cook ability when inhaled, he has seemingly endless untapped potential, and he's capable of interplanetary travel. Okay, I can explain those last two. Chef Kawasaki appears in 3 different levels of Milky Way Wishes, a subgame that specifically takes place on other planets throughout the Kirby universe. So for Chef Kawasaki to appear on these planets, that must mean he has the ability to travel off-world like Kirby. Now, whether that's simply through the Warp Star or some Chef Kawasaki themed spacecraft is yet to be revealed, but I'd hedge my bets on the latter. As for his infinite potential, this actually refers to a glitch involving Chef Kawasaki. If you use the copy ability— oh wow, that's weird to say out loud. If you use copy to scan Chef Kawasaki, instead of giving you the copy ability for Cook, he instead gives you a random copy ability. In Kirby Superstar's remake, this was corrected, so it's clear that this was just an error in the original game. But what if it wasn't? And Chef Kawasaki has the same limitless power as Kirby laying dormant inside his body, completely unaware of his true potential, simply content to live his days as a humble chef. It's probably just a glitch. But what if? Oh hey, Chef Kawasaki appears in Samurai Kirby. Hey gamers, it's time for a Chef Kawasaki fun fact. Did you know that despite being introduced to the series as a mid-boss, Kirby Superstar and its remake are Chef Kawasaki's only appearances as a mid-boss for the next 22 years? Well, that was a fun video. Hey, if you like Kirby content and you want to see me make more, be sure to like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. I'm just kidding, we got a lot to talk about still. Sure, Chef Kawasaki may not be a recurring mid-boss throughout the series, but he still very much has a presence in future Kirby games. For example, Kirby's Dream Land 3, the very next main series Kirby game after Superstar. This game actually features Chef Kawasaki in a major way. Each level in Dreamland 3 features a character that requires you to complete some kind of task to receive a Heart Star, with every Heart Star being necessary to reach the game's true ending. And among this wacky cast of helpful characters, including Kind the Fish's wife, Samus Aran from Metroid, and a mushroom, Why, it's none other than Chef Kawasaki! Oh, I bet we'll need to gather ingredients for him throughout the level, or maybe cook alongside him. Or maybe he has you play a memory game that just tests your ability to recognize specific sound effects. Why isn't anything involving Chef Kawasaki food related? Wait, do you hear that? Oh baby, it's time for the Chef Kawasaki lightning round! Following Dreamland 3, Chef Kawasaki would continue to make minor appearances and cameos throughout the Kirby series. He appears as an opponent in Kirby Star Stacker for the Super Famicom and as an opponent in Nightmare in Dreamland's knockoff Samurai Kirby subgame, Quick Draw. Every masterpiece has its cheap imitation. In addition to his roles from the original Superstar, Chef Kawasaki appears in Kirby Superstar Ultra as a target in the Kirby on the Draw subgame, and a card in the Kirby's Card Swipe subgame. He's an opponent in Kirby Mass Attack's Kirby Quest, and a giant mechanized version of him appears as an opponent in Kirby's Return to Dreamland's Mecha Shot subgame, further pushing my Kawasaki spaceship theory. He then appears as a keychain in Kirby Triple Deluxe, an advertisement in Kirby Battle Royale, and as a collectible figure in Kirby and the Rainbow Curse. The figure's description mentions that Chef Kawasaki only appears as a figure and not in the game proper because of his busy schedule. We know very little of Chef Kawasaki's personal life. Kirby Star Allies. It's certainly a Kirby game, but if you're a Chef Kawasaki fan, it's the Kirby game. This game not only marked Chef Kawasaki's return to the main series as a mid-boss, but by harnessing the power of the Friend Heart, you can team up with Chef Kawasaki, and in multiplayer and the sub-games, the game is generous enough to let you play as Chef Kawasaki. Oh, it's beautiful. I remember breaking down in tears when I first played this game and reached Chef Kawasaki. They even released a trailer before the game came out showcasing Chef Kawasaki like he was a new Smash character. Let me tell you, it certainly had that kind of impact on me. Oh, and the two other Chef Kawasaki fans. Cook Kirby is still a straightforward one-time use ability in Star Allies, but as an ally, Chef Kawasaki has a unique and original moveset based on his mid-boss fight. He uses his ladle, throws plates, and can also cook enemies to recover health. He can even charge up this move and enhance his cooking skills with the help of his allies, creating the explosive Super Supper. We also learn in this game that Chef Kawasaki has an identical twin brother who is also a chef. You could say it runs in the family. That's not a pun or anything. Why is that in the script? This was Chef Kawasaki's last major role in the Kirby series so far, but he continued to cameo in Super Kirby Clash and Kirby's Dream Buffet. You can even wear his severed face as a mask in Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe, just to try and chase the high that Star Allies gave us. Chef Kawasaki even makes a physical appearance in this game, reprising his role in the fan-favorite Samurai Kirby subgame. Aw man, it's like looking in a mirror. I usually don't include games outside the Kirby series in these videos, but I think it's worth making a special exception for a special man. Chef Kawasaki appears as a sticker in Super Smash Bros. Brawl, and if you expected his attribute to be anything related to food, you must have been watching a different video. Plus 20 launch resistance, which, you know, is technically a trait Chef Kawasaki has in the Kirby games. His spirit in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate has a much more fitting bonus, giving a fighter increased stats after eating food. But that's not his only role in this game. Chef Kawasaki is actually an assist trophy, able to join the fight himself and help whoever summoned him by cooking a delicious meal out of their opponents. Sure, it would be more satisfying if he was a fighter, but when us Chef Kawasaki fans have to struggle for crumbs and we get a meal like this, it would be foolish to complain. Chef Kawasaki, alongside the greats like Zero, Alucard, Guile, Bomberman, and of course, Dr. Kawashima. What a time to be alive. And that's it. That's everything about Chef Kawasaki from the Kirby games. I mean, it's not like there's some other form of media that heavily features Chef Kawasaki as a recurring character to talk about. Oh my god! Chef Kawasaki is a major recurring character in the Kirby Right Back At Ya anime series. Being the owner of the only restaurant in Cappy Town, he makes a lot of appearances and even has a good number of episodes that focus on his business and his past. The main gag with Chef Kawasaki is that his cooking sucks, but he's the only restaurant in town, so it's not like you can go anywhere else. In his first starring episode, Dedede appoints Chef Kawasaki as his personal chef and invites his old master to visit, tricking him with a recipe that lists its main ingredient as Kirby. I gotta talk about this show in depth someday, it's wild. Dedede opens his own restaurant to run Kawasaki out of business, and Kawasaki keeps his restaurant alive by serving super spicy food, eventually creating the super spicy curry from Kirby's Dreamland. There's an episode where Dedede buys the restaurant and turns it into a revolving sushi bar. Chef Kawasaki engages in a cooking battle with an old friend from culinary school. He starts a delivery service for his food. He creates an ingenious new ration to keep Waddle Dee food costs down, which of course leads to an entire Waddle Dee uprising. And in one episode, he tries to cook Kine. Kawasaki, no, he has a wife! Well, actually, the episode involves Kine giving love letters to Tiff, so either his wife doesn't exist in this canon, or beloved Kirby character Kine the Fish is trying to commit adultery. Bet you didn't expect to hear that in this video. Outside of the kitchen, Chef Kawasaki has been a ninja, a cartoonist, a voice actor, a peak physical specimen, and a dinosaur. Chef Kawasaki's frying pan is often the item that causes Kirby to transform into Cook Kirby in the anime, which appears in 7 episodes, tied with Sword for the second highest episode count right behind Fire. One of my favorite Kawasaki moments is in the finale, where he joins the Halberd's crew and helps Kirby defeat Heavy Lobster by using ice to freeze the monster, which is a really smart use of his culinary knowledge. And then he suggests they blow up Nightmare's fortress. What a legend. Also, if his English dub voice sounds familiar,
I know I can count on Kirby to spice things up for me.
It's provided by the late, great Maddie Blaustein, known best for her role as Meowth in Pokemon.
Wow! I got a lot of people to disappoint.
And for being one of the most prominent openly trans voice actresses at the time. Hell yeah! Chef Kawasaki makes one final appearance in Kirby 3D, the one-off special released years after the anime's finale, where he actually plays a major role alongside Tiff and Tuff. Now, surely we've covered literally everything about Chef Kawasaki, right? We've talked about the main series, spin-offs, appearances outside the Kirby series, and the anime. What other role could Chef Kawasaki even play in the Kirby series? I mean, it's not like there's a real-world Kirby-themed cafe that opened in Japan, let's say around August 2016, that heavily featured Chef Kawasaki as a mascot and had its own original story behind it. Nah, that's way too specific to be The Kirby Cafe opened in Japan in 2016, and in 2018, Chef Kawasaki joined as the head chef of the establishment. That's quite a step up from his reputation in the anime, where nobody liked or respected him. He's usually stated to be the one going out and coming up with new recipes for the restaurant, finding inspiration from Dreamland or harvesting ingredients from Wispy Woods. Should I make a Wispy Woods video? When's Arbor Day? Alright, maybe next year, if you're good. I can't speak much on the Kirby Cafe itself since I've never been there, but just look at some of the dishes with Kawasaki's namesake in them, and it's apparent that Buddy quite literally cooked with these. I hope someday to put his culinary skills to the test, but for now, it seems like he truly is the real deal. Chef Kawasaki isn't a deep or complex character like the other Kirby characters I've discussed in the past, not even remotely close. His entire characterization starts and ends at his title, Chef. But despite that, and his infrequent appearances throughout the Kirby series, he's become a memorable and beloved member of the Kirby cast. Whether he shows up as a cameo, a mid-boss, or a recurring ally, it's always a treat to see Chef Kawasaki in the Kirby games. And I look forward to seeing what they cook up for him in his next appearances. Thanks for watching. Also, yeah, this was totally an April Fool's video.